of the service along about 46, 47 and people. But the people that went broke during the Depression, they couldn't turn them. And the banks had them, and the banks didn't want them because they wanted the interest out of their money, and there was somebody else to pay the taxes. That's what they was up to. And people scared to death. One farmer over there inherited on the edge of Carryall, Paulding County and Defiance County, named Sam Porter. He's quite a lot of chocolate. He went into Pat Harrison, the Antwerp Bank, during the Depression years and said, "Pat, you know anything about farming?" He said, "Lord, no." Pat said, "No, Sam, I don't." Well, he said, "By God, you better learn because there's at least two of them."
Well, that must have been very hard for these people to give up their farm and then have it sold for so little and they couldn't even afford to buy it back.
But you can believe this, during the Depression, and I was working just part through the caseworkers and whatever, I've seen people shut right out in the street here in Paulding. The sheriff sent them right out on the street because they couldn't pay. They couldn't pay for their home. They lost their jobs. There was nothing to do. Yeah. Over a little town of Haven, boy come out. They'd been working in Detroit. Come out of Detroit. They had two kids. All they had was store boxes. They had one little baby with had a not a shipping box, but a pasteboard carton for a crib. They had a stove, and that's all they had. We got a grocery order, casework.
It's like what we have our street people now that haven't got anything that are wandering the streets, and homeless people. They were homeless at that time too, weren't they? So this is nothing new.
Homeless, it was, well, most everybody was up against it one way or another. The farmers that had their farms paid for, was in the clear, could hang on to them, but those that didn't, the banks wanted their interest, and rough time even paying their taxes on what they'd get. Farmers burnt their corn and placed a fuel because they couldn't bring a load of corn to town and trade it for a load of coal.
Well, those were rough days. I can remember, I'm just old enough to remember after the Depression, because I was born during the Depression, my dad lost his job, and he worked for what was called WPA, and on the
WPA was God saver the entire county. I happened to be with it. I'll tell you a little something. I was first lieutenant in the Guard here. And when this WPA stuff first started, August Patak was county superintendent. And I was out of the job. I was just married. Just went to house. And I was getting by. But, all right, they sent down word people was destitute. They had a job to start. And Augie Patak, thinking of me, he called me and said, "I want you to go over to Grover Hill and meet a group of people there to go clean that ditch." So I went over the first day and there was 55 or 57 people there. And I told them to get the shovels and what they needed and so forth. Come back and reported on. The next day I had 110. All there was. I don't remember what their wages were. But we got the shovels and we started cleaning that ditch and runs from Grover Hill. And I looked them over the next day and some of them actually barefoot. They had and in their dinner pails, some had a couple of slices of bread, some of them didn't have anything. And their feet was bare. And I came back and told the captain, I have to go see the head of this church organization. And he said, "Well, you will tell those folks this is the end of the week." trustees to get themselves shot in decent clothes. And the trustees shall pay for it. And we give them a job, work from their home, which I did. They got decent clothes. They got, I don't know what we paid for, it wasn't too much. They got grocery order and so forth to start with.
Mhm. I can remember walking with my mother, now we had to walk downtown to get a bag of beans. It was like a 10-pound bag of beans, and we had, I suppose we walked about 6 or 8 blocks back home, and she hardly could make it. After a while, that 10-pound bag of beans got to be heavy. Then I probably was about 5 years old, and my brother was 3, and we're, trailing along and trying to keep us in tow. But that was like we have welfare today, and no one works for welfare. They just get their money and their food stamps and everything. But this WPA was the same as working for what you were getting.
It was public. WPA was Public Works Program, which they started along with that. They started a 3C camp where youngsters, that parents couldn't make it in their teens, they put them into camps, give them $30 a month. They sent $25 out home to their parents. They got $5 to keep for themselves for tobacco, such as they liked, and they had them working along reforestation and various and sundry other things. Then the soldiers, World War I people got a little anxious, and they made a trip to Washington, and Roosevelt set up a 3C camp for the soldiers. And one of them happened to be in Defiance, and there was a chap or 2 out of Fremont, Ohio, that I had known in the Guard. Landed down there, and I went down to see him in this big tent that they were in. They were doing cleaning up the brush and shrubs and beautifying the Auglade and the Maumee River that was out on this little island where they had their camp.
Yes.
And in that tent was 2 dentists, 2 civil engineers, and 3 school teachers, working for $30 a month, giving their families over to their folks and sending $25 a month home. So that's a far cry, $25 an hour.
I guess. Getting back again to the wilderness that we had here, I was reading the other night and some of this information on Antwerp, where they would cut down the trees, cut them in half, put the round section of the tree down into the ground, and then they were able to travel across the smooth
Corduroy Road.
Yes.
Yes, we had that. I can recall when they put in the first stone roads over these corduroy roads. You take what is now 49 was corduroy, and it was corduroy down in Antwerp all the way to Payne. And when they serviced it the first time, put a pipe on and so forth, the logs would rot out, and there'd be holes in it where they had rotted out, and that's the hard work down. So they would, what they call corduroy road, that was only means they had to cut down the trees, and put on this way, and then put a small tree about too big, and sometimes larger, over these runners, this way and then this way. And they put gravel or dirt or whatever was handy over the top of it to kind of smooth it out. And that's why the horse buggies and the buggy run. And of course, this is flat ground. They're talking about swamps and so forth. That's the reason why we have all these ditches. The ditches are not natural. American Arms Creek. What's this in here? Flat rock? Flat rock. That was the drainage that we had. But these ditches we have, drains the farms, this ground all had to be ditched and cleared up. But because to start with, I was like logs. And George says building timbers, I never knew anything particularly about building timbers. I knew about the oak and heard about the oak and such other trees. But the building material, we got outside of that good old hard oak and hickory that you couldn't drive a nail in today. Our other timber came out of Michigan, some of it, unfinished pine, because they had more pine up there, and we had oak. We had oak in this part of the country, we had pine there.
What can you, or maybe the rest of people here, tell us about the wood? We oftentimes hear, I don't think the young people know, when we talk about this hard wood, that you can't today drive a nail into it. What was the difference between that? Why did that wood stay so hard? Where today we have lumber, we cut it, and you can drive nails into it. What's the difference?
It's a different kind of wood. That's the reason why they had oak. That's the reason why they had barrels and the hickory and so forth. The pine, the softwoods we get today, like your pines and other wood. Now cottonwood is even a hard wood, but it isn't hard as that oak. You take those oak logs. Well, I tore down a schoolhouse out in Antwerp Carryall Township and built me a cottage up at the lake about 25 years ago. And those things, they were natural lumber, the timbers in it, and they were oak. And boy, it almost burned up my saw trying to get them down to the right size where they ought to be. They were sawed, and a 2x4 is 1 3/4 inches one way and 3 3/4 the other way, because it's been dressed and the sides taken off. Which, if so, it hadn't been done, Charlie. You just sawed out and rough. And that oak, you couldn't drive into it. It's just that kind of wood. It's the difference between concrete and gravel. Well, they used to use soap for one thing or another. The carpenters put a little soap on them and drive into them. And then they got the drill on their ways. But it's the timber in itself. George is speaking about chip timber, which they wanted the ash, I think, was George.
White oak.
Huh? White oak?
My wife, family was working that when they talking about. They told about her great-grandfather floating trees down Long Beach to Toledo for shipping overseas.
Isn't that something? They had to go across those rapids even when they got down to Grand Rapids, didn't they? George?
I think it's pretty appropriate when we hear the first time I laid eyes on Henry Donnell is when he come back from overseas after World War I. And yeah, I think he's a remarkable fellow. He had quite a lengthy military career in 3 different wars.
Could you tell us about that?
Oh, well.
We're just going to keep you going all the time you're here.
You can let the other folks talk a little while, and I'm out of that.
Okay, well, we won't forget that. We'll
This
come
man
back.
here, man from
We have another man from Antwerp that hasn't said a word yet. Tell us about it. You know about Antwerp. First, give us your name so we have it all.
I'm Tom Marlin from Antwerp, and my grandfather was born in Lorain County in 1853, and they came up here and settled where our farmhouse is now. They came up there in 1856. My grandfather was 3 years old when he got there. And then my grandfather later on married a Barker girl, Sarah Barker. And she inherited 40 acres. Somehow or other, Barker settled up and she got 40 acres. And then they went on this farm, and my son is living there on that house now. Part of it is, it's got to be back in, probably in the 1860s or something like that. But it's, you know, it's all covered up now. It's been remodeled about 4 times. And my grandfather helped blow the locks on the reservoir canal and helped let the water out. And we have about 34 acres of the reservoir. And this 24 acres on the north side of the ditch, the creek there, going outside Antwerp about a mile. The creek goes through there. And that 24 acres, we had a good year for wheat. We had 87 bushels the acre, and that was 1990. And I haven't got it all tiled up yet. I haven't started tiling it. My Uncle Gene Marlin put some tile in it. But then the other side of the creek, we had about 7 acres. We had 50 bushel beans last year and this year.
That's good.
Yeah, that's what the reservoir can do if you get it up to fertilize it good and everything. And my grandfather was trustee. It must have been in 2930.
Before that.
Before that. Well, he was still trustee yet in the 30s because he run for election and they put Martin instead of Marlin on the ballot, and he lost the election because nobody knew any Martin. Do you remember that, Hank?
Yeah. And go ahead. Your father was trustee.
My father was trustee then
And Tom was trustee.
and then I was trustee for 20 years. I got elected on the strength of my grandfather and my father. I think so.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say the name helped a lot, but I don't think he got elected on this thing. Now you're talking about that. Do you know anything about your grandfather's brother? I believe his name was Henry, that lived and I built where that little grocery store and filling station is now.
Yeah, but country times.
That was one of the old plank houses that I was telling about earlier before you came. Do you know anything about
I don't know anything about that, but I know that I think Gene Marlin's boy. He ended up in Fort Wayne somehow.
He was sheriff of Fort Wayne during the bootleg days.
He was in there in what is it, 28, 29 in there.
A little before that.
A little before that. That was Gene Marlin's boy.
That's Jim Martin's son. He was in Fort Wayne, and during the bootleg days, he was accused of making funny people money on some of everything. But he would let them do their bootlegging and so forth, and the only thing he could do was make right. Gold like he wanted, but the only thing he could do, he couldn't arrest him. Chicago couldn't do it, or anybody else, because he didn't like the prohibition law. That's the way the story went. I don't know
Yeah.
if there's any truth to it or whether there
Anyway, he was sheriff of Alvin County.
Well, that's for the young people that are gonna view this. What do you mean by bootleg?
bootlegging, selling illegal whiskey and beer. You see, when Prohibition came along, which was a war act started with high voter dry, and it was one of the last states we used to go dry. There used to be a little said he was song. What are you going to do after July the 1st? You'll have to drink water or you'll die of thirst. July the 1st, 1920, is when the state of Ohio went dry. Bootlegging was, well, they imported whiskey from Canada, and, well, there's several people here in Paulding County I know got arrested by the name of Scooter One by making their own corn whiskey. And there's a lot of them made in various country places I couldn't tell you about.
I heard it said in Defiance, this one particular family, the only way that they were able to exist and have enough food to eat was by making moonshine and selling it, taking it to Colgate, Ohio, New Bavaria, and selling it there.
Well, I'll tell you what, now this is not just a story, this is a fact. I and another chap went down to New Bavaria one time to get a little moonshine whiskey. And we pulled up in front of this guy I was with him named Gilbert Alley. Now, the young man said to him, where can you buy whiskey? We'd heard they had good whiskey around here. He looked at us a little while and he said, you see that brick house over there? Pointing at it. Gib said, yes, he's doing it. He said, well, that's where the priest lives. That's the only place in town you can buy it.
I heard something to that effect too, that's where they're taking it. Well,
But I'll tell you another right here in town. Budby, well, Tom knows him. But there's a man by the name of Dick Leader. Run a grocery store here.
That was my uncle.
And he gave some people that just don't remember their name the sugar and the goods to make this moonshine. He supplied the goods and they made it. They kept selling.
boy, it's really interesting to hear what happened, you know, way back, and how people operated, and it was just a fact of life at that time. Just like now today, things are happening, and we have a hard time accepting them, but years from now we'll laugh about it and remember that was...
Well, you know, Al Capone was a champion in Chicago. People just followed him all over. He was a master. But Prohibition law was a bad law, but it was intended as a war act and got into effect.
It affected the people right here in Paulding County.
Yes, it did.
Sure did.
Because it's against the law to even make wine. And we had a lot of people making wine before the Prohibition went into effect. I know people that had great cars and made wine by the barrel. And that, of course, that was against the law. Who's the neighbor that's going to, hey, invite over for a little glass of wine or something, go to Squawk Farm.
Little dandelion wine and rhubarb wine.
All fine.
Well, the others of you have something to add about Carryall Township.
Well, we went over the tile factory. Yeah. Armstrong's, out along the river. Used to have 2 sorghum mills. They raised a lot of sorghum and cane. They had, you take your sorghum there, and then grind it, make the sorghum molasses. You boil it down, what have you. They had the moisture dark and bitter. And I think we left out one type of work they had, was in the summertime and partially through the winter. The farmers all made a lot of hay. They threshed their grain. And they had balers. There were 2, 3 people around town and hired 5, 6, 7 people. And old horse-drawn balers. You have balers that pull into a farmer who wanted to sell his straw. They'd bale it all up, and then the horse drawn out of it. And the horse would go around in the ring, and they'd stamp it in there, holler bale, and the guy pushed the wires through, and then tie them together, and pull out a bale of straw, or a bale of hay. They'd pile it up in the barns. And in the winter time, when they got to the point that they needed a little money, or they seen it's gonna have enough to feed their stock and their horses until the next spring. So the new crop come on, they'd sell what they had left to get themselves a little cash money or put it in the bank or whatever they done with it. And they'd go out to the barn and these people would have a few days' work baling hay and straw. And then somebody'd have to haul it with horses. Farmers usually did. In the off time, in the winter time, they'd haul their grain and so forth down when they couldn't get into the fields, they'd take their horses. And that's the reason why we had to have corduroy roads in those days. They'd bring it into town and sell it.
I think right here we could have Mr. Price tell about what he has done with a baler. Isn't it a baler that you donated?
Yeah, I remember those horse-operated baler like Henry Donnell said, where the bar was with the horse going around the circle. They used to come and bale hay.
You donated a baler, wasn't it a baler?
A
thrashing machine.
To Archibald Museum over there, Saunders. And they got quite a collection of that museum is, and they're building on to it. They're putting a big hotel in now, their museum. I was over there last week and talked to Neil Allen, the curator of the museum.
Well, they talk about this baler. I fed one of those balers. They call them alligator balers. I fed them when I pulled bales from them.
Did you? I suppose that was real easy work.
Well, I don't know. Some of those bales weigh 200 pounds.
Final clear the top of a barn is not very easy.
Yeah. I see today when you drive down the highway and see the bales coming off the baler and they're putting them up on the truck. Looks like pretty hard work right now today.
But baling up the straw, get a little ahead of the story, you know, the first thing you have to do back there was cut your oats and your wheat, shock it, the binder, you follow binder around after they got the binder, follow it around the field, set up these shocks, then you let them dry and set there for a week, 10 days in the big fields, and that was not so hard work, but it was hot and it was quite tiresome setting up good sized shocks, those wheat, and especially if it's bearded, the beard can get in under your underwear and scratch and so forth. But then comes thrashing time. We had team engines, separators they call them, hooked on behind it. And we have rings, what they call rings, up in the neighborhoods all around. And they'd go into this one place, you had to go to town, get coal and appease. You had to get food for all the thrashers because that was part of the deal. We'd come into this place and all the neighbors and pitch bundles and bring the grain up to the separator, thrashing machine, whichever you want to call it. They'd throw it in and the oats or wheat would come out on one side and the straw out here in another pile. And they'd do that until the entire set up go from one home to the other. They'd get through with one home to the other doing this ration. They'd get through in the middle of the afternoon. He'd roll over to, well, we felt like I worked with shot by here from neighbor Gordon right across from George Jensen's place. And he told George, or Ed Gordon's over at George Jensen's, said, well, people would all follow. And sometimes they'd have supper, but normally they only had dinner for the thrashers. There'd be, I don't know, 15, 20, maybe more. Then the neighbor women would all come in and help get the thrashers dinner, and they'd have a good time with it. And that went on until the entire setup was finished. And then came the balers, the other things along with it.
I've helped with those threshers dinners. I didn't say we had a good time. Boy, you got 3 days ahead to get stuff ready, and 3 days afterwards to clean up. We would carry bundles for my dad of wheat or oats, so he didn't have to walk so much and get so tired of skid. We probably weren't over 8 or 10 years old, up to him, and then he would shock us because we weren't strong enough to cut down hard enough to stand. But we carried him to him. He stood still. He grabbed a couple, and then we would bring them to him.
You didn't have a bundle carrier on your binder?
No. My dad probably had one of the first binders in this
Didn't have-
territory.
They came out first with the binder and just kicked out the bundles.
Yeah.
Went everywhere. And then they came out shortly thereafter. They got a bundle carrier on it where you tripped it. The driver of the team was tripping every so often.
That was probably back was about 1910 when my dad got it, one of the first binders in Paulding County.
The bundle carrier would carry about 4 bundles, and then
Drop it, yeah.
you drop it
in rows.
Well,
drop it in rows, and
I was
it saves a
setting
lot of
up,
work.
I was setting up wheat and oats before 1910. About 8 and 9, I helped them.
When Hank talks about George Ends, he talks about my father.
And your father.
Yeah.
Your father who helped build this building.
Yep.
And one of the commissioners at that time.
You were 2 years old.
Hank, can you hear me?
And now, there's one thing we've left out in Carryall Township, and we left out through, I think, which is very important to the farmer's life and everybody around him is concerned. And that's our rural electrification. Before we got rural electrification, we had coal lamps, we had a few gas lights, we had coal, which they talked about starter fires, and I helped make a survey when they talked about rural electrification. I had, as I told you, I was APD, or WPH, and I had 4 or 5 people making a survey of the Paulding County, see how much electricity they would use. Well, most farmers, they'd have lights. They'd have a electric pump, motor pump their water. And that was about it. Some of them had an iron. And that was enough to get started. So
No television or radio.
we got them radios coming in, and they had battery radios. And they had quite a few of them. And boy, we got the rural electrification. And what did they do? They just went all wild. They got washing machines. Of course, we didn't have, even in the villages and towns yet, we still had a lot of back houses, sales buildings, and lights, and old washing machines, either on the board or you do this way. And I know Murphy's people, his grandfather, his wife's grandfather, was at the Murphy had talked about the 3 farms around there, and my wife's grandfather, great-grandfather, had steps down to the river where they take their clothes down and wash them, pound them out on racks and bring them up to wash, and then they got the washing board. Then the first washing machine was out with one of these you pull this way, it had rods on the bottom of it, push it this way back and forth. And that was fine. And the ironing, but you had the old hot irons you put on the stove. And they'd get hot enough, you'd touch them, and you'd drop it in their clothes.
I almost have forgotten about all that, but I can remember as a child going to Hicksville where my grandparents lived. I don't know how my mother did her washing, but when we went to Grandma's house, that was the day when we all got there, she made sure she did the washing. And all of us kids would stand there and pull that back and forth, so the barrel of water would swish back and forth among the clothes. I almost forgot about that. also the irons on the stove. The irons.
Electricity, when the first electricity came in, it was 50 cents a month. And then it jumped to $1, and people thought that was outrageous.
Yeah.
What is it now?
But then when you
You
consider
didn't have
what you
anything,
were
only just a
making.
full light.
And the cook stoves they had, to start with, just these clappers, and then they got the range. And boy, the woman that got a reservoir on her stove and had hot water all the time was something out of this world.
Yeah, we had one of them. Didn't know we were so fortunate.
I can remember for soft water, we had a rain barrel.
Yeah.
And whenever you went to get the rain water out of it, you worked it like that so the wiggers all went to the bottom before you took the water out. Remember that, Hank?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, what did you say went to the bottom?
The wiggers,
The wigglers. Okay.
mosquitoes.
Mosquito larvae.
The wiggle tail. Yeah. I'll tell you one on George. George's dad. George done the work. They had built a new house out on the farm they lives on now. And George's time was up. He served 2 terms, and I don't know whether he ran for the 3rd one or not, but he was coming back to the farm. And he had built a nice new barn. And they would build a new house. They still live in the old house. And George was just a youngster. I don't know, 7, 8, maybe a little older. But his dad was used to have it so forth, so we'd have it in the Norrie carrier about so long, about as long as a bathtub. Pull that out in the sun, and George would fill it up with water in the daytime, young George. And when his dad got out, went through the dusty field and so forth, he'd crawl in there and take a bath.
I can
Remember that, George? Huh? Huh?
I can remember that.
Another thing, maybe might be important about the roads, how they were built. The township roads were built by farmers who had time left over. Most of the roads were built, I think, in the fall or after the oats and wheat were thrashed, and before the corn was harvested. They didn't have soybeans until about 1936. And then the farmers would haul gravel. They'd get gravel out of the rivers, and they'd have a team or a couple teams, and have the gravel wagons. They'd haul, what was it, what yard?
2 yards.
How much?
2 yards.
2 yards, they call 2 yards of gravel. And if you were hauling the road over next to Harrison Township like we were, we'd make maybe 3 loads a day, and have 2 yards of gravel.
And they did their own grading, the farmers did.
Yeah,
You
the
know
farmers
why-
had
you know why
graders
they did
that
that?
pulled with horses.
You know what they got for it?
No, I don't.
They paid their poll tax.
Oh, is that what it was? No. Well, anyway, we used to haul gravel and
Out of the river.
out of the river.
Somebody had to drift it.
Yeah, they drifted in and make a gravel pile. And then you pitch it on your wagon. They didn't have a loader or anything like that. You pitch it all on by hand. And get 3 loads a day. And you'd make $3 a day. You and the team would make $3 a day. And that was pretty
And
good.
it took a pretty good team to get up that little hill from the,
Yeah, you'd have
from
to
the
have
river bridge.
Sometimes you'd have to rest them, put a block behind the wheel, and start over again. I haul gravel myself.
They used to, too, when the way they financed roads, the farmers lived so close to the roads they were rebuilding, we used assessed for that.
Yeah.
I've got a receipt, or a notice that my dad got where certain roads were being built, and he was assessed so much money.
That's right. The assessment on the road, now you take the road from Antwerp to Hicksville. The farmers along there paid, the assessment was for half the road. They owned both sides of the road. They got the full assessment. And then everybody back, a period of 5 miles, helped pay on it. And the first cement road in the state of Ohio was from Antwerp Corporation to the Antwerp River Bridge. It was built in 1914. 1913 we had the big flood. and it forced out practically all the grade. The water,
I thought it was 2 inches when that happened.
and forced out all the grade, and they got the, through when they built up the grade and they concreted it. The first one was concrete, it was just a single horse and buggy, one half get off of, very near off of the burn, that come along. It's only what, I think 16, maybe 16 foot wide or 14 to start with.
Some of the earlier stone roads had a mud road that run right along parallel with it, so that the horses that weren't shod could be travel along.
There was another use for that mud road. Back in those days, tires on automobiles weren't very good. And every chance you got to drive on that mud road, you didn't drive on the stone road because it saved your tires.
There's a passing road, is what it was. Passing road.
Did
They
you
had
have sorghum mills over there in Carryall Township?
I spoke about those.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Armstrong, Mr. Armstrong, there, I think 3 families of Armstrongs, and there's a Saltgrader family out in there in Biderville. But the Armstrong, there are 2 brothers up, and they had got family boys. And they had these sorghum mills. They raised quite a bit of sorghum out of that.
We have broom corn too, and someone that,
That's right. And another thing we left out was grist mills, you know. They used to take, Antwerp had a grist mill. They used to take the corn and the wheat and everything, you know, and just turn them their chops and so forth. Carr brothers owned the grist mill. A lot of the women, they made 3 kinds of flour. When I was old enough, I lived right close by it. I used to help pack a little bit. They had Antwerp, Carnegie, and Bob White. And I've known that people bring it in and said, this flour is no good. The Carnegie, or they talked to them some other time. Well, she wants Bob White, or she wants that one. She wants the other one. Sure, they change it. Give it. And it'll be all right. That'd be all right, 50 points. But yeah, it all come out the same sheet. I helped pack with it. Well, Tom Carr, you know, sure enough. That's the way it measured 25 pound sacks. He looked at his order and say, well, we cut 10, 12 bags of pure. Because they don't. Same sheet, 12,
it's about that way with everything now. I worked at
everything is that the way it's just name brand. But the thing of it was, it could have been flour. It could have been yeast. It could have been something else. Because the flour, it all came out of the same shoot, but made out of different kinds of wheat. That is, you had to bring in his wheat and sell it to them. Some more than bring theirs in, and it might be different kinds of wheat, different quality of wheat. But all in flour. It didn't make any difference. What stack it was in, it was all the same thing.
Didn't they have the bleached flour? Did they develop that there?
Oh yes, they bleached. They had it. They didn't bleach it. They had that ship and so forth that went through.
They had a sieve? That one thing?
Yeah. They had fine brand, they had coarse brand. All qualities of wheat.
That's true about everything now. I worked at the print shop, and we had 144 labels that we would put on. If it was a jobber, why, you put on that label. But instead of saying manufactured by, you just put their name down, but you didn't say they manufactured. Which is getting the same thing. And you sign people maybe buy 5,000 from one brand and 5,000 another, but it was all run through the same,
Definitely the same way.
yeah, same thing.
Mr. Strable, did you add something to our conversation?
I wanted to ask Mr. Donnell, did you ever remember a wrestler around Cecil between 1915 and 20?
Who, what's your name?
A wrestler, I thought his name was Edgar, but I don't know for sure.
A wrestler.
But you was talking about bales. I know one time I was just a boy, and I had to help load bales and brace them in the boxcar for John Market. And this Ackerman, I think that was his name, worked for Market. He'd take them bales and toss them up, and I couldn't lift one and lift them. And I got to talking with him. He was a wrestler, and he said he lived near Antwerp. And he said, or Cecil. And when he practiced, he said he put a half a bushel of wheat on his shoulder and run back and forth to half a mile back in the field and back. And wondered if you never knew him.
Margaret,
He was a wrestler,
wrestler.
or a boxer, I don't know what.
His name is Thomas. He was a wrestler.
You know?
His name was Thomas.
Well, I forget the name.
His name was Thomas. Yeah, he's from Cecil. Yeah, I knew. His first name was Theodore.
Well, I never knew him. I just had to work with him. I was just a boy.
Sure.
Toss them bales up there. And
Theodore Thompson. And he was quite a wrestler. Yeah, I know who you mean now. Yeah. In fact, he was in the guard over there with me in the early 20s.
Yeah.
He was chaplain wrestler at Camp Perry one year when we was down. Yeah, Theodore Thompson. And another chap, which you might, well, you know him, I know, and he's not so old, he's younger than I, was quite good at wrestling at Cecil. And he fought Joe Louis in the Golden Glove and got himself knocked out, and that is Harold Lehman.
Right.
I didn't know that.
So he went to the Golden Glove, he went for the championship, Harold Lehman did, and he fought Joe Louis, and Joe Louis knocked him out in the final setup for the Golden Glove Championship in his weight.
Mill. This mill in Antwerp, was that run by water power or was that run by steam?
And run by steam. And they burnt sawdust to start with from the factories, because they had a man around there that's practically all they done was haul sawdust from the factories, stave mills and so forth over the steam engine to keep the fire going for Paulding sawdust jobs. And we talked about other things in Antwerp. One thing I didn't mention, that we had two newspapers in Antwerp at one time. Two newspapers. One is the Antwerp Bee, the other is the Antwerp Argus. A fellow by the name of North Osborne ran the Antwerp Bee. And a fellow by the name of Shell or something similar to that run the Antwerp Argus.
And then you must have merged to be the
North Osborne bought out the Argus, and this man that I was talking about that owned the Argus went to Hickston. And we had a chap on there by the name of Banks, who was a newspaper reporter, and he'd meet all the trains coming in, which there's always a crowd around, to tell them whether he's going to Fort Wayne and get or not. And he was quite a conservative, and he used to write checks for 25 cents. Write a check out, go to somebody for paper or something, 25 cents to write a check.
We talked about a lot of different stores and businesses in Antwerp. How many banks did they have?
We had two banks at one time, and it didn't last for too long. But we had a lot of money lenders around. That is, people that would lend you money, a mortgage, first mortgage, subsidy, stuff. The Gordon Brothers and the hardware. We had two hardwares. We had Gordon Brothers and Bjork and Grant. Bjork and Grant was bought out along about 1908 by L. Smith and Son, which L. Smith and Son sold out here about 8-10 years ago to South Buicks and all everything to this outfit here. Paulding, I don't know what they're concerned.
Back when I was young, my mother and even my grandparents, they'd go to town to do their trading. They didn't say what they were doing, taking their eggs and bring to town.
Butter to start with.
And then they'd get so much money for that, and then they'd buy groceries, and they called it trading. And the Risings, they sold a lot of butter around there. Sold butter. And I can remember delivering cottage cheese for 15 cents a pint. My mother would take the separated milk and let it sour and then hang it on the clothesline, let it drain. And then she'd make cottage cheese, and she'd put a little extra cream in on the top, make it nice and creamy, and sell that for 15 cents a pint. I'd go deliver it on Saturday night or Thursday night, and that would help out.
You call that cottage cheese?
Mhm.
We call it smirke.
Oh,
They call it smear.
Cottage cheese is a polite name for it, but I think every farmer made out of clabbered milk.
Is that a German word, American?
And he was talking about his mother. You know, these small farms we used to have around Carryall Township and Harrison Township, that'd be 40, 50 acres, 60, 80. Along about 1908, 7 or 8, Strauss brothers started the movement. The farmers from Illinois come in and bought a lot of these small farms and moved them together, the 120s, 200s, and sold them to Illinois people. The thing that made me think of that was Tom mentioning his grandparents, the Risings. The Risings was a group that came in Paulding County with the movement of the Illinois people in 1908. The Stachels, Myers, some of the Millers moved in from Illinois. They sold their small farms in Illinois and came into Ohio, Carryall Township, Paulding County a lot. And the farmers from Paulding County that only had the small farm went to Michigan and got a bigger farm.
They're exchanging all that.
Well, the amount of money, the price of it. The Illinois farmer come into Ohio and get cheaper ground and not quite as much money, for less money than what they sold there for. They could maybe get it with mortgage and that come along hard times along with that. But the people in Paulding County, most had, they shot their nose, they cut their corn and put it on shocks. And the Illinois people came in with larger farms and they husked their corn standing, which was rather unusual because in general farming around Carryall Township and so forth, they raised their hogs, their chickens and so forth, and didn't go so big.
There's really a lot of interesting facts that have been sort of lost in time of how people really lived in this area during those periods of time.
They would have contests on that shucking corn. Even women would participate in that. Oh, my kids, oh,
Husking bees,
yeah.
barn dances. You know what they did when they got the red ear? They got to kiss the gal, it was their choice.
Oh, I know.
You mean in the red ear of corn, where they plant one in all this wild stuff?
No, then occasionally among the corn at that time, well, maybe every 100 or so you'd get one red ear out of it.
Oh,
What caused it, I don't know, the pollination or what. Maybe the farmers can tell you, I can't. What caused that red ear, you know, George?
Oh, that's interesting. There was a poem written, and I don't know whether some of you have you heard the poem about Antwerp, which was written by Mrs. Ada Jump.
Ada who?
Jump.
J-U-M-P?
J-U-M-P,
I don't know.
She was commemorating Antwerp's centennial. This was written in 1941. She said, long ago in far-off Egypt, the pharaohs of old told of land of promise through which the Jordan rolled. We know these ancient men were wise. We know they were sincere, but they must have been mistaken, for the promised land is here. Out here in our own Ohio is utopia at its best, with pastures green and waters clear, with milk and honey blessed. There are cattle on its thousand hills, and sheep within the fold, its fields of yellow, wheat and gold, our open mines of gold. It was just 100 years ago that a brave and gallant band, with courage true, came struggling through to reach this far-off land. For once the Indians' campfires gleamed, and early dusk and gone, our acres now of clover blooms, and fields of waving corn. A tribute is due these pioneers who blazed the weary, winding trail across the wilderness of forests, swamps, and swale. They built the town of Antwerp, where peaceful Maumee flows. They made the hills and valleys to blossom as they rose. The years have come and gone since then, 100 years, 1 century. Our sands of time have run their course and left their marks on history. So let's not aim to wander far, our foreign lands to roam. Just be content to live and work in Antwerp, home sweet home. I thought that was kind of a nice poem that she wrote.
It's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say Ada Jump?
Ada Jump. J-U-M-P.
I've heard of jumps, but I didn't know. But I
A lot of jumps. I knew a lot of jumps, but I was just trying to place this Ada. There's one jump, an old Civil War veteran. He had 4 or 5 boys in this Dallas. There's Guy Jump who run the lumber yard.
Warren Jump.
There's George Jump. Warren Jump was your brother-in-law. Yeah.
No, he's not.
Not so busy. Yeah, that's right.
I married.
Yeah. Warren Jump was old Warren Jump's grandson. He was Ellis Jump's brother of Guy. Now I had something else on my mind to get away from.
When I went to the trustee conventions down in Columbus for several years, I keep meeting Mr. Jump down there, who was Guy Jump's brother. He was the trustee. He was the trustee in another
Huron County.
Huron County, I think it was. I talked to him every year. I'd go down there to the convention. I talked to this
That was Warren, wasn't it, George?
Warren Jump, I think, yeah. We have nice talk.
Well, we was talking about camp work and so forth. You know, they talking about the roads back here where they had to grade them all. In Antwerp, Ohio, I saw a load of corn with 2 horses on it, pulling it, stuck in front of the post office and right across from the bank in Antwerp. They had to get another team and men to block it out and so forth to get it up out of there, get that load of corn out, and take it in to the element. That was how good our roads was back in the early days. And the first pavement in Antwerp came in 1916. They paved the street in Antwerp from the Canal Street to the Corporation line on the north. 1916, that's in 1916.
You often see in the Western movies that you see on TV now today of the women and how they dressed in those days with their very long skirts.
Big hats.
And yeah, they had, but you wondered about their clothing, how they could keep it clean on these such dirty roads. And just to walk across the street or the road, go from one store to another. There weren't sidewalks as such, and it must have been very difficult living in those days, really.
It was, but
Very
they
difficult.
usually, the women usually wore four or five underskirts.
Mhm.
And I can recall when Antwerp had board streets. And these big hats you're talking about. They tore up the board streets, and I didn't know that when the cement sidewalks came. And they had from the main street of Antwerp down to where the old schoolhouse stood up